into a run. So it's been a while since I've actually run this game. I don't quite remember the last time I ran Magical Melody. It wasn't that long ago, like relatively, but a couple months at least. I did think something like that was going to happen. Hey Neko Harpoon, how's it going? Yeah, I knew I was going to mess up one of the naming things because I've been running a lot of Wonderful Life lately, and like the way you like get off the naming screen is different in each game, so I kind of forget sometimes. Okay. That's good to hear. And congrats on moving to a new place. Congrats, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but well done. And nice. I'm doing well, thanks. Yeah. Funny enough, I'm like moving out in about a week and a half or so. So it's gonna be fun. Bit rough on the furniture there, but I'll cope with a meh intro. Luckily, the intro in this game is like nowhere near as important as the intro in Wonderful Life. Similar lengths, but this game isn't as like this game doesn't have like massive minuscule time saves in it. So I mean, I guess it does, but you know, it's not like I've got a lot of leeway with this game that you don't have in Wonderful Life. So I'm not too bothered about a terribly slow intro. Well, obviously I don't want a terribly slow intro, but you know. So since the last time I ran this, a few months ago, hey Hydraulics, how's it going? I have actually discovered or like changed a few things in the route. There are some minor time saves. Or hopefully are some minor time saves. I haven't timed them because I'm lazy, and a lot of the time my time saves is kind of just me going, yeah, that's probably a time save. So one of them will so the first new time save that will be apparent is to do with like where you place your crops and that kind of thing. So if you're familiar with this run, you know we grow some breadfruit and some green herbs. The green herbs are dependent, or luck based I guess, but I'll explain that in a bit. But we also grow grass to get another note. And before, I used to grow just like 3 squares of grass underneath my house. But now what I do is, after I've harvested the flowers or herbs from the gardening note, I then just plant the grass there. So you still end up like sickling the same amount of grass, and you technically have to water 2 more squares, but you do it in fewer days, so it's kind of faster because you end up growing 5 patches or 5 squares of grass instead of 3. And it saves a little. It gives you like a little bit of extra time to do other stuff. Because on the second day, because you don't have to till soil, or you don't have to till more soil. And one of the other time saves that is really, really unnoticeable, but it's something we do kind of early on. So it'll be within like the first few splits. It'll be during the Flower Festival split, but then we won't notice it all the way until fall. So there's a note in the game that you get for buying, or for having over 50 recipes, I believe. And basically you get these recipes by buying different kitchen utensils. Basically since like the beginning of the run, like the beginning, like since I started running this game. Damn, I'm losing time, and this was already a bad split. But yeah, but since like I started running this game, the item that I've always bought to get this note was the pot, and I just kind of bought it because it was like, you know, it worked. It was like the first item I ever tried buying. It worked, and I was like, great, no need to ever test that. But interestingly enough, like if you own certain kitchen utensils, different people will come by and give you recipes. And one of the things that will happen is if you buy the pot in fall, the harvest sprites will come around and tell you how to make mushroom soup. So if you buy something other than the pot, they don't come around and tell you how to make mushroom soup. I think there are 3 ones that if you own, people will tell you, like someone will come around and tell you a recipe, but one of the people is Cyberer, and because you don't, like he doesn't live in your village in the run, you don't have to worry about that one. I believe the other one's Frying Pan, but so what I do instead is I now buy the oven, which is a little bit more expensive. So the pot is 500G and the oven is 700G. But just because of that, we skip like maybe a 30 second to minute long cutscene. And the slight downside is money is actually really important in Glitchless. It's important in any percent as well, but you have a lot more leeway in any percent because of inventory storage and the infinite money that it gives you. Whereas you don't have infinite money in Glitchless, so yeah, so money's a little bit tighter in this run, specifically with getting Big Eater. So what I'm doing on this first day is currently I'm getting I think it's called garbage can, but it's a note you get for putting 20 things in the bin, which I'm currently using weeds because I also want to pick up 100 weeds just in general. Hey HK Nuts, how's the daily timer in this? Fast like 64. Not as fast as 64. I think it's pretty slow. Oh, it's like comparatively slow, but I don't think it's the slowest in-game timer. I think that's probably the Wii games. But I haven't played all of the handheld ones, so I don't know how fast the in-game timer is in that. But I guess for, not necessarily comparison's sake, but for reference, I guess, there are notes in this game where you have to stay outside for 10 hours. Those notes take about 6.5 minutes. So about 10 hours in this game is like 6.5 minutes ish. But that's like straight outside. Obviously time doesn't pass if you go inside, so it's a bit different. Okay, so here's the garbage can note. And now I'm going to do a few things. So I have a specific pattern, I guess you'd call it, I go through. So for the most part, the map in this game is exactly the same. So all of these pieces of wood that I'm chopping up all spawn in the same place at the beginning of every game, like every time you start a new file. So I know exactly where they're going to be. All the rocks spawn the same, all the trees spawn the same. Most of the weeds spawn the same. Okay, these two flowers being next to each other is actually really good, I'll explain that in a sec. So the biggest difference is that forageables are not the same. So these two fairy berries, those two flowers, and things like that, they don't spawn the same, they are random. But for the most part they have like similar-ish places. But okay, so the reason getting those two flowers is good is because there's a strat that I want to do, or you can do if you manage to find 2 moondrop flowers on the first day, in order to get the gardener note you have to grow 5 flowers or herbs. And the quickest to grow is green herbs. But in order to do that, you have to find 2 moondrop flowers in the first day. So if you don't find 2 moondrop flowers, if you only find 1, what I'd do is I'd find a green herb, and then just keep that on me until I find a second moondrop flower. And if I don't, then that's just unfortunately bad, and I have to spend an extra day watering the flowers. It doesn't save a massive amount of time, but it does save time. And then something else in this run is similar to the regular any percent or glitched any percent that plays a big part in this run, is Big Eater, which is a note you get for eating 50 items of food. And whereas in glitched any percent you can influence that by, or not influence it, but you can like easily add to it by going into inventory storage and duplicating edible items. You obviously can't do that in Glitchless because it's glitchless. So instead what I have to do is I just have to naturally find a lot of food items and buy a lot of eggs as well. So I do get some leftover money to buy a lot of eggs, but I also need to get very lucky with just food in general, which I actually am being really lucky with. So usually I'd be a little bit closer to the rock climbing minigame by this point in the day, but I'm not, just because of how much food I've seen and eaten. I've left some of the honey because honey is because you can eat honey, or honey is in all seasons except winter, so the honey will stay there in summer, and in fall the herbs won't. And in Glitchless you do a weather day in each season. So now I just need to wait for 10 past 4 and then partake in the rock climbing minigame, which is not technically the first massive part of luck in Glitchless, because as I said, there's a bit of luck with whether or not you get 2 moondrop flowers, but so far this day's actually gone really well. So I wasn't able to do that much whistling then, but that's a lot easier to catch up with later than eating is. So I'd much rather eat a lot more food than do a lot more whistling on Spring 2. So this is the rock climbing minigame. It's a bit of a pain in the arse. So ideally, I want to not have to move myself manually as much as possible. So what I mean by that is, so I'm tapping the A button to go to climb up the mountain. And like now, I can't climb up whilst moving from side to side unless there's an updraft which pushes me up. Okay. And wind also lags out the game, so wind is very slow in general. No, I just have to go this way. Right, please be an updraft. Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't have done much about that one anyway, because it would have just been guessing which way it was going to push me. Okay, and I get an updraft right at the end. Okay, so not a great rock climbing minigame, but I think I'll be about even with my PB maybe. I think I might lose a little bit of time. But even if I lose time here, I know it was actually a pretty good day anyway, just because of how much food I ate. Oh, whoops, I forgot to split. Okay, so Bob's going to explain how shipping works to us, but we're not actually going to ship anything for a while. Even though I did just get a purple herb and a moondrop flower, which I do want to ship eventually, I don't want to ship it on this day, otherwise I won't get the poor note tomorrow, or I won't be able to get the poor note tomorrow. Okay, so another minor change to the route actually is I now fish underneath my house at this part of the river as opposed to the other side of the bridge slightly further left. I didn't wait long enough for that. And the reason is, if I do it properly, you actually catch this fish quicker. It's just a little bit more difficult to see. Hopefully though I catch something that I can actually use for sushi. Nope, I didn't wait long enough. Okay, this isn't good because I'm messing this up. But as I said, the problem with this is you can't really see the fish at all that well. And it doesn't help when that happens. Okay, that's really irritating, and I'm just going to have to catch up on that a little bit later. Okay, so these are a specific crop pattern that I'm doing to grow breadfruit and green herbs. So I want to grow breadfruit for two reasons. One, it's a very good money maker, and two is because you can use it to befriend Ellen, who coincidentally lives just across the road. So that is obviously very fast. In Glitchless 20% you also befriend Bob and Blue, but in this game, or in Glitchless, it's a lot slower to get 10 silver and 10 milk, so you don't really want to do that. Okay, so if I didn't mess up as much with the fish and got a little better luck, I'd get to the seed shop at about 20 past. I'd definitely get there a lot closer than 10, but that's just like I've only started using that fishing spot, so it's not perfect. And as I said, you kind of have to wait like a little bit before the fish appears, and it's kind of hard to tell when the fish does appear because you can't see it very well. Oops, okay. The reason I bought a pumpkin there is because I need a pumpkin later, and the reason I bought a pumpkin instead of a tree when I could buy a tree now and get that note now is because in order to get the poor note you have to have less than 100 G, and buying the pumpkin puts me under 100, but buying the cheapest tree doesn't, so I'd have to buy a more expensive tree, so it doesn't make a massive difference. I think in the end it probably means I'd be able to buy one less egg right at the end of the run, but that could potentially be one egg that I need to buy in order to get the big eater note without having to look for items right at the end of the run. Okay, so I did pass out there on purpose. This is to get the limitation note. A very important thing is I don't run out my house before it gives me the note, otherwise I have to do it again. Which would cost me time, because obviously I'd have to pass out again, but I'd also have to watch this cutscene again. It would be a little bit shorter, because the first time you watch this cutscene... Oh, I think if you watch this cutscene and you haven't been to the doctor's before, then Alex introduces himself to you, but if you have, a shorter version of this cutscene plays, and he just says, be careful, don't pass out. That's not good, despite the fact you get a note for it. Okay, good. Okay, so now for quite a few days of watering. So the green herbs I only have to water for a few days. I think they finish growing on the 6th. It might be the 7th though. And the breadfruit takes 7 days for the for them to harvest the first time, and then takes 2 days for every other harvest. So in total I'm going to grow 5 harvests of breadfruit. So so from this point onward, rain is really helpful and really fast, and saves me a good chunk of time. It saves me time, or saves more time in these next few days, or in these days when like I'm growing breadfruit and green herbs, but it still saves time just in general, like whilst I'm growing breadfruit. So if I actually get a lot of rain after the 17th, which was when I've stopped growing breadfruit, I might ship a few more breadfruit just to give myself a little bit of extra money. So here's the pour note, which means I can now ship my flower and my herb without it costing me that note. Hey Go-Go, how's it going? I'm doing well, thanks. So yeah, so these green herbs will be done by tomorrow. And actually another reason why it's better to grow green herbs as opposed to the moondrop flowers. So I mentioned earlier that they take 1 less day to grow, which is good, but you can also eat green herbs, so which you can't do for moondrop flowers. So I can grow 5 green herbs, ship 1 of them for the note that I'm going to get later, and then eat the other 4. And then that's 4 more items that I would have ate as opposed to if I had to grow moondrop flowers. So this is the gardening note, which means my green herbs are fully grown, which is good. So something I want to be careful about, and hopefully saying this doesn't jinx it. But ideally, I don't want 1 breadfruit to be, I don't know what the best way to describe it would be, but to be like off pattern. So if you miss a day shipping breadfruit, or not shipping breadfruit, but if you miss a day like watering 1 of the squares of breadfruit, then it can be particularly annoying, because then it will grow because breadfruit harvests every other day, it kind of or every 2 days rather, it then goes like an on and off pattern where you have 5 growing on 1 day and then just 1 other breadfruit on the other, and it's quite annoying. Okay, so now I'm planting my grass, so that'll be done in a few days. Hey Desert, thanks for the bits, and thanks for good luck. Yeah, Glitchless. A few extra time saves as well. Funny enough, I think actually most of the time saves, or like most of the recent time saves I've found in Glitchless, would actually apply to any percent as well. Okay, I don't actually know whether I'll be behind on this split because I don't. Okay, so this is what I mean. So for whatever reason, I definitely watered that middle plant. There'd be no like way that I wouldn't have, because like, yeah, like I don't see why the game would have just skipped over it. It doesn't make sense, but so unfortunately now, so all the other breadfruit are going to be able, I'm going to be able to harvest them on the 9th, except for that one. That one I now have to harvest on the 10th. And then the other 5 will be harvestable again on the 11th, and then that one will be the 12th, and it will be on and off, and it's very irritating. Especially considering it's still behind, so the game now thinks, okay, this is... If it's 2 days behind, that's just very weird. And I'm not entirely sure why it's doing that, but okay. Three to 4 days, damn, okay. I don't think I've ever seen it that bad. I've seen it like get 1 day behind, and sometimes it's like I kind of think, oh, okay, that must just be because I missed it or something, and sometimes it is actually the game just being a little bit funky, but I've never seen it like, to be honest, I don't think I've ever actually seen it like be 2 days behind when I've watered it. Yeah, I imagine that's what will happen with this one, is that it will be it'll end up getting back on sync with the second harvest, which is actually fine. I think I'd prefer that over oh, I didn't pet my dog. Oh well. But yeah, I think I'd prefer that over it like being 1 day on and off. But luckily it's raining, so I don't have to worry about watering them today. So what I want to do is every harvest except the last one, I want to keep 2 breadfruit. I want to not sell 2 breadfruit at least, and these breadfruit I'll give to Ellen. The last harvest I want to keep 3 because I'm pretty sure it's the next harvest. The day after will be a Thursday, which is their day off, so there's a good chance I won't be able to visit her. Yeah. So what I usually do is if on the Thursday it's not raining and I have to go outside to water them anyway, and she's just below the other side of the river, then I'll give her a breadfruit. But if she's not, then I just put that breadfruit in my fridge and I keep that for the harvest festival. But because of that, that means I need to get another breadfruit to befriend her with. So at the last harvest I keep 3 instead of 2. So the Flower Festival split I've only actually just added. So there may be potential room for gold here, but I don't know, because the only actual time I've got for it is the one from my PB, because I just added it before the stream, and I don't remember like how much rain or how much time save there actually is in this bit in my PB. There could be some time save, I don't know. Okay, so it's synced up with the other harvest, which is good. I think today might be the last day I need to have my sickle on me. So yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, if I do this instead of growing 3 bits of grass underneath my house, no, I think that's one more day then. You still end up growing the exact same amount of grass, or you still end up harvesting the same amount of grass because you have to do 20 to get the note, but you end up doing it in fewer days. So, I don't know, it feels like it saves time, I guess. Okay, hopefully I can get to the house before. Yep, okay. So I want to get to Ellen before 8 o'clock, because when it goes 8 o'clock, her position is, or she'll be outside, but you need to like reload outside for her to be there. She won't just like come outside. Another rain, okay, that's good. That means I actually don't need to check outside. But yeah, so what I'd have to do is I'd have to go, if it gets to 8 o'clock, I'd have to go inside anyway, and then exit, in order for her to appear outside. And that can also happen if you're like close enough to 8 o'clock. So if it's 7:50 but it's really close to being 8 and you go inside, the timer will just like go up to 8 o'clock anyway. Okay. That shouldn't happen because there's 5 bits of grass. So it should happen. So because you're supposed to cut 20 bits of grass, it should happen 4 days. In 4 days, exactly 4 days. But that probably just means I missed the top 2 on one of the days, which, yeah, just a bit bizarre. But yeah, so I no longer need the sickle, because I've cut all the grass that I need to. Okay, so because I don't have my sickle on me, I now have a little bit more space in my bag, so harvests are going to be a little bit quicker. Not going to be massively quicker, I don't think, because you still have to go back for one last piece of breadfruit, but might be a little bit quicker, I don't know. I really don't do as much timing as I really should. Okay, so there's only one harvest left, or one intended harvest left, so tomorrow should be the last time, or will be the last time, that I water the breadfruit. As I said earlier, if it rains, or if it rains twice since the last harvest, I'll probably ship a few more breadfruit just to be a little bit safer with money. But yeah, but being able to do that is entirely luck based, so there's no guarantee. So actually, I have just thought I am now going to be. I'm going to be 300 behind just because I missed that first. I almost went in the wrong place then. Because I missed that first breadfruit, or that first, or what, like a breadfruit missed on that first harvest. So yeah, so even one breadfruit is going to be a little bit important because, so when it comes to buying eggs, that will get me 2 eggs, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you really do cut it close with Big Eater in this run. Like, if you think you cut it close with Big Eater in Glitched, you cut it a lot closer in Glitchless. And the reason why, even though all my crops were harvestable, whoops, I'm going to waste a little bit of time and go back inside because I don't need the watering can on me anymore. Yeah, so even though I could have, the breadfruit would have been ready yesterday, because it was a festival I wouldn't have been able to give any breadfruit to Ellen, so there was no real point in going outside. Yeah, so I saved 3 from this harvest instead of the usual 2, because one of the ones I saved earlier, from an earlier harvest, didn't actually end up getting given to Ellen. It's being saved for the Harvest Festival, all the way in fall. Okay, that's one day of rain. And at this point, I don't think there's enough time for them to, for the breadfruit to like die before the end of spring anyway. So yeah. So as long as I'm pretty sure as long as it rains just one more time in spring, then I should be able to do another harvest of breadfruit. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting day. Ooh. So I'm going to catch a bunch of fish I've never caught before. No, because I'm going to actually do quite a few things today. Hey Groat, thanks for good luck. How are you doing today? So today's going to be the last day I need to give breadfruit to Ellen. But it won't be the last time we'll see her. We'll see a little bit more of her. Remember how I can use that. Okay, I'll do that now because I was supposed to do this on Spring 3, but I didn't actually catch any fish that I was able to do it with, so I'm going to catch it now. So the reason I'm catching so many fish is because, one, to get this note, and two, to feed and befriend the dolphin, which will take me to the island. Oh, cool. Right. It's all a bit out of order here, but whatever. I should have actually took note of how many fish I had. I think I had 4. Might have been 5. Okay, so here's the last breadfruit to Ellen. And the moondrop flower is going to be used, is going to be put in the festival bin. And the animals are going to get in my way. So putting this flower in the festival bin means I can partake in the flower festival in a couple of days. And I'm actually going to go a little bit risky and no, yeah, I'd have, hang on, no, I need to catch 3 because I caught 2 at the beginning, I caught 3 just, but then I used 1, oops, but then I used 1 for cooking, and you need 8 altogether. Chulo fish. I'm seeing so many fish that I've actually never caught in this game before. It's really interesting. Okay, usually I'd like a little bit more time for whistling, but as I said, I can catch up with that a lot later. So now I'm in the junk shop. Why am I in the junk shop? 2 reasons. 1, to buy the rucksack. The rucksack doesn't get you a note, it just makes a lot of things a lot easier. And the other reason is to buy the oven. So I mentioned this right at the beginning of the run, but for people who weren't here or weren't listening or whatever, originally I would have bought the pot, and the pot is great because it's only 500G compared to the 700G that the oven is. However, if you buy the pot, so these both of these items get you get you the, I think it's called Super Chef, but it's the note you get for having 50 recipes. Both of these kitchen items get you this, but if you buy the pot, all the way in fall, all the way in in about just over an hour's time, or somewhere in an hour's time, if I bought the pot, the harvest sprites will visit me and tell me how to make mushroom soup. Whereas if I buy the oven, nobody visits me telling me how to do any of that. So it costs an extra 200G, but it saves probably just less than a minute, I reckon. Somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute. And now we're going to head to the library to do some speed reading. And then after the library, I'm going to head on over to the seed shop to buy the last item I need from there, and make a quick pit stop off at the Dolphin before I get there. And then that'll be this day done. So in older versions of this run, you'd actually try and you'd only make like one stop to the seed shop. You'd only go there once. But in order to do this, you'd get a little less time to do other things on Spring 2, because I think what you'd end up doing is you'd have to ship I think it was a purple herb and a green herb on the first day, which means you'd have to go up to the mountain and find them, and then make your way back down to the to your house. Yeah, okay. Good, so I do have enough fish for the dolphin. And after this festival, so here's the note. So here's a little cutscene with Ellen, so this is how I know I've befriended her enough. After this festival, I'm going to go to the mines, and the mines is another big part of luck in this run. So for people who can't tell, there's quite a bit more luck in Glitchless as opposed to Glitched. Just for like various small reasons. So in Glitched, I believe like the two major and really only big parts of luck in the run are the rock climbing minigame and the mine. And those are both still present in Glitchless, but then you also have Big Eater is a lot more luck based in Glitchless. You have the swimming festival. You have the the blue mist flower in fall, which is luck based. Off the top of my head, I think that's it, but I could be forgetting a bit. I guess you could say there's weather, but eh. Okay, so I'm probably losing time on this split as well. So let's hope I have time saved in various places. I'm gonna lose that much time, I don't think that. Okay, not brilliant, but I'm pretty sure in my PB I didn't have a great trip to the mine, so I could potentially save time here. And actually, I think I've definitely got a time save here because I think in my PB I didn't get the limitation note during the Egg Festival split. I think I would have got it during this split. Okay, this is actually going pretty well so far. So I think all I need to find now is 2 moonstones and a rare ore. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to fall down that, I just wanted to get to a slightly better position on those crystals. Okay, I'm just going to go for the moon ore, unless there's crystals on this floor. Just like, okay, no, moon ore it is, rare ore it is. So I'm going to get the rare ore, and then I'm just going to, like, re-enter. I'm going to exit and re-enter the mine. Okay. So yeah, so all I've got left now is the 2 moonstones. So as I said, I'm just going to exit and re-enter because crystals are going to be a little bit more common on, I guess technically they're the higher floors because you're falling down, but you know what I mean. This might be a little bit of a risk. Okay. I'm really glad that wasn't a moonstone because I wasn't sure whether I was going to get the destruction note then. And as you can see, if you get that note when you want to pick up an item, you don't have enough time to pick it up Right, I have everything, yes. Yes, I do. Yeah, okay. Good, so that was a really good trip to the mine. As I said, I don't think my PB went that well. And that's actually another day of rain. So I think usually I'd probably do this on Summer 3. But I'll do this now just because there's other things to harvest. So because there've been 2 days of rain since the last harvest of breadfruit, there'll now be another harvest of breadfruit. Assuming it hasn't died, but nope, they've died. Okay, dope. I didn't think there was going to be enough time for them to have died, but apparently there was. I don't know how many days they can actually go without dying, so that sucks. Because I'm now going to be 300G behind. I wonder if the one that like grew a little bit later, for whatever reason, is just not dead. No, they're all dead. Okay. That's a shame, but as I said, that was kind of luck based, so I guess that's nothing too big to worry about. But yeah, that's pretty much it for spring now. Yeah, there's literally nothing else to do in spring except sleep until the end of it. So this is going to be a massive gold split. But regardless of how big this gold split is, the Swing Festival is coming up soon. And the Swing Festival is pretty scary. So I think I've maybe only had like 1 or 2 runs die to something like the rock climbing minigame. Cool. Yeah, 5.5 minutes. I thought it was going to be about 5 minutes. I've had a couple of runs die to getting ridiculously bad luck in the mine. But I've had quite a lot, like, I think, not necessarily the most common way, but a very common way for runs to die, especially, well, I guess technically glitchless, because glitched runs don't have this festival in. But yeah, is this festival. It's very luck based, and there was a reason when, in early routes of the run, I would go, okay, even if you do it well, it's fast, but I just kept it out of the run because I just didn't like it and wasn't good at it, but yeah. Okay. So I'll explain the swimming festival before I actually go to it, but what it is basically it's a little mini game in which you have to touch 4 different coloured buoys around a little arena that you swim in, and you have to do it. So you have to touch all the different coloured buoys first before any of your opponents, except they're all randomly placed, and during the game there's random whirlpools and currents that can either be very helpful or very bad and can slow you down a lot. But on top of that, not only do you need to do well enough to win, you can actually also lose a bunch of time if the computers are really bad, because the minigame doesn't end until the third person has finished, so until there's a ranking of 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So it doesn't, so That's because there's like an actual mini game mode in this game where you can play multiplayer. So even though in this part in the story, it doesn't matter, like who comes first, second, third, and fourth. It only matters who comes first. I don't even know if there's like a different dialogue if you come second, third, or fourth. I'm pretty sure they all just say the same thing, or it just changes depending on who the winner is. But yeah, so because you have to wait for the third computer or the third person to finish. If all the other computers take really long, then it's just really bad. So this looks pretty decent because I can already see two boys, and the green one is usually on the left, so I'm assuming that's going to be quite close to me. Yep, okay, no, that's a really good pattern for me. Like, I actually started on it. The only thing that could like mess me up now is really bad things like that. Okay, so I'm definitely going to win this. It's now just a matter of how fast the computers are going to be and how kind the game is going to be to them. And assuming it doesn't mess Jamie up now, it's messing Carl up a little bit, but assuming it doesn't... No, okay, yeah, that was actually really good. Sub 1 minute is really good. Like, yeah, no, that was a really good minigame. And I never actually remember where I split on this note. Where I split on this... Yeah, I guess that's the right thing. I wasn't sure whether split on this, split on this. Yeah, I'd never remember where I split for this. But I think either way it will be a gold. I'll split there because... Actually, no. I'll split at the end of the festival because that's when I split for all the other festivals. So that's consistent. Okay. Still a gold either way. So that was really good. Okay, so there isn't really much else to summer now. There's just the few festivals and the weather day. I don't think it matters whether I do a cloudy or a rainy day. But I think I'd rather do a rainy day. So something interesting is, or I think it's interesting at least, is a couple of years ago now probably, there was a version of this route that I was planning out in which you didn't make any friends at all. And the reason why I phrase it like that is because in like even older versions of this route you used to not only befriend Ellen, but you also used to befriend Joe. So there was like a version of this route where you weren't going to befriend anybody, and yeah, but then I soon found out, I think I actually found out during a run, that in order to do certain festivals, you have to be friends with somebody. I don't know whether you need to have them like on enough hearts or points or whatever to get the note from them, or whether you just need to have like, you know, given them one gift or something. But yeah, but festivals like this, where it's classed as like a romantic festival, you don't actually do, because you're not friends with anyone, so they don't invite you to them. Okay, I think the next festival is the... Oh, I'm trying to remember what it's exactly. I think it's called the Firefly Flower Festival. And in order to do it, I need to put a moonstone or a moon gem or whatever it's called in the festival bin, which is why I got 2 of them earlier and not just 1. So I got 1 in order to ship, which you get a note for, and I got the other 1 in order to do this festival in a few days. Okay, a cloudy day. Yeah, no, as I say, I think I want to wait for a rainy day. I think I'd rather do a cloudy day in fall. I don't have to, and I could end up playing it a bit risky by doing stuff like this, but yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go put the moonstone in the festival bin tomorrow. Or today now, I guess. And I should have actually took a fish out then, but I forgot to, so that's unfortunate. But what that'll probably mean is there'll be like, I might save like a little bit of time in this split, but then lose a bit of time in like a later split. So all that really does is just make my splits like a little bit inconsistent, but yeah, they're always a little bit inconsistent with this game, or with, you know, Harvest Moon games in general, so I'm not too fussed. Like, you know, like my sum of best segments is 2:23, which is like 4 or so minutes above glitched world record, and that's probably not accurate. But then again, I imagine my glitched splits probably say, like, the sum of best segments for that is probably like sub 2 hours or something, which is equally unlikely currently. Okay, I think after the 20th, I'm just going to take whatever weather day I can get. I've actually completely forgotten. Nope. I forgot that you don't actually need to talk to Thomas. Or rather, that's not Thomas, that's Theodore. Or rather, I completely didn't actually pay attention to the fact that that was Theodore. I was just like, yeah, no, talk to everybody in close proximity. Yeah, I've actually forgotten to ship the milk and eggs, which usually I do the day after the swimming festival. But it doesn't actually matter when I do it because I only need to do it on not a Thursday. Of course tomorrow is going to be a Thursday, but yeah. The reason why not a Thursday is because in Glitchless you can't just buy a single milk or a single egg and then duplicate them through inventory storage. You actually have to buy all 10 of them. All 10 milk, all 10 eggs. Oh wait, no, it's Wednesday, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense because it puts you at midnight at the end of that festival. I mean, I guess alternatively you could get a cow and a chicken and, you know, get the milk and eggs properly, but that's slow. And not at all worth doing. So yeah, so I want to buy exactly 10 eggs and exactly 10 milk, and then sell them. So obviously you don't make a profit from this, you don't even break even. Doing this does actually put you at a loss, but it's faster, so who cares? And this is also another reason why, like, you know, another way of, like, of why getting the rucksack upgrade, even though it costs you, I think, 1000 G, is worth it because with the rucksack upgrade, you only have to take 2 trips back and forth, whereas without it, you'd have to take 4. How much money do I have? Okay, not at all. That's fine. So it just now means on the so I will obviously still get money from these. So that just means I'm gonna have to visit them again on the Friday in order to buy the brush and the bell, which I need for 2 other notes. So I'm hoping it's not raining today or tomorrow, because otherwise that won't actually be beneficial to me. But as I said, I think after the 20th, I'm just gonna take like whatever weather day gets given to me, whether it's cloudy or rainy. If I don't actually get given either, then that's very bad and I'll be very disappointed, but there's not really much I'm able to do about that. Actually, nope. So I don't actually need to spend any money on anything else now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy as many eggs as I can. Specifically eggs because they're the cheapest, I believe at least they're the cheapest edible item you can buy at only 120G. I don't think there's any cheaper, but maybe I'm wrong on that, or maybe there's like some cheaper, but they're at like the cafes or something that just aren't at all worth unlocking. But yeah. So I think I got, okay, good, a rainy day. I got a little over 10 there, close to 15, but I don't think exactly 15. Yeah, I think that's fine. Wasted a little bit of time there just really making sure. But yeah, so what I'm going to be doing now is another weather day, similar to what I did for Spring 2 right at the beginning of the run. So the reason I wanted to do a rainy day as opposed to a cloudy day during summer is because I think the stuff you do, like, oops, I did not mean to throw that in the river, but apparently it didn't make a difference. The stuff you work towards and like the notes you do on the rainy day, I believe take longer than a cloudy day does. And even though you have to take like you end up taking like exactly the same amount of time to complete the weather day note. One of the things that you have to do in the different seasons is find what are they called? The herbs and flowers. And you don't need that much extra time to find the herbs and flowers in summer. They're not that difficult. Whereas in fall, there's a flower called the blue mist flower, which is like ridiculously rare. I'm pretty sure there's like only one grows during fall. So if it is the case that you get more extra time during cloudy days than you do rainy days, then I'd rather do a cloudy day in fall, so I have that extra time to look for the blue mist flower, as opposed to in summer to look for flowers that are easier to find. So yeah, so as you can probably tell, the note I'm working towards at the moment is the weed note, in which I have to pick up 100 weeds. So I already had like 20 of them from the beginning, because I picked up 20 weeds in order to get the garbage can note. So now I just have to do the remaining 80. As technically it was the remaining slightly less than 80, because I think I picked up like a couple during spring as well. And yeah, and I still want to be eating like various items like these blueberries that I'm going to find around the overworld in order to build up Big Eater. And in fact, that's the thing, even though I've got a bunch of eggs on me, I'd much rather eat forageables, because forageables for the most part are specific to a season. So, as I said earlier, honey isn't specific to a season. It'll disappear in winter, but it'll still be there throughout all the other seasons. But like quite a few things that you can eat grow during summer and during various other seasons. So, I'd much rather have them. Whereas the eggs that I buy, I can just I can just keep them and then just like mash through them at the end of the run. Okay, so that's that note done. That's good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and find the pink cat flower, which is the flower of this season. Yeah, and if I see any items like that herb I saw, or like the blueberries, or anything else that grows during any of the edible items that grow during summer, I'm just going to make a little pit stop to eat them. Okay, I'm really banking on there being a pink cat flower up here. If there isn't, then this is going to be quite the waste of time. Nice trip. Which I'm actually quite worried about now. Damn. Okay, unfortunately there wasn't. So this might cut it a little close. I'm going to pick up these two honeys because I probably won't come back to this bit in fall, because the blue mist flower doesn't usually grow up here. Okay. No, I'm gonna have to lose time on this, unfortunately, I think. Not even I think, definitely. Because I'll get the note at 4:10, which will probably be about now. But I still need to find the pink cat flower. So yeah, so unfortunately this is a time loss. And because I've spent so much time looking for the pink cat flower, I'm also behind on other things now. Okay, this is... That's a weed. Oh, shit. Tactical, but stupid. Okay. Yeah. This is a time loss, and hopefully I can make it up later. But we'll see. So yeah, so usually during that day, aside from just doing the weed note, I'd also do the bell note so the note for ringing the bell 20 times. But because I spent the rest of the day looking for the pink cat flower, I had no time to do that. I'd also work a little bit more towards the what's it called? The whistle note, but didn't have time to do that either, unfortunately. But now the whistle note I'm not actually too worried about, because I'm pretty sure I get a bunch of extra time to work towards that during winter. And the whistle note doesn't usually take up that much extra stamina. The bell note will take quite a bit of stamina. Because in fall, when I do the cloudy day, I'm going to get the brushing note first, and then I'm going to try and find the blue mist flower. And if I find it quickly, then that'll be good, because then that'll give me time to work towards the bell note. But if it doesn't, then I'll have to work towards that in winter. But I guess this is kind of what it's for, because winter you don't really have that much to do. You do the cultivation note, you do the whistling note if you haven't already got it by then, and you do the stationary note. Hang on a sec. Right, okay. Hopefully. My stream hasn't gone down. But if I am still up and people can still hear me, hopefully I'll fix it during the fireworks cutscene. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. For some reason, OBS decided to revert my video settings back from what I have it for this game to the settings I have it on for when I play Wonderful Life in Japanese. So that's a bit bizarre, but should be fixed now. Like, I did actually think for a little bit that my stream had gone down during that, because my audio cut out for some reason. I'm not sure why the audio cut, but the audio cut out. And then I only managed to see that the video had froze on my dashboard. It hadn't actually frozen on my TV. Yeah. But yes, this is pretty much summer done. I say pretty much, we still got to like sleep for the rest of it, but other than that, it's done. As I said, there'll be a little bit of a time loss here, because of the fact that I had to spend a little bit of extra time on the weather day looking for the pink cat flower. I'd say at most it would probably be about a minute. don't think you should be more than that. Interesting enough, I think this might actually mean I might lose a bit of time or not save as much time in fall now, purely because I think I'll end up getting more notes in fall. And that like doesn't actually cost time getting notes in like different seasons, but if you get more notes in a different split than you did in your in my PB, then like it does actually look like it costs time. But yeah, this is summer done with. Still ahead by a good chunk, that's good. And I'm almost actually going to be done picking up and putting down my dog now. So yeah, if you've been wondering why I've been doing that so far in the run, it's because, as you may have guessed, you do get a note for it. And in order to get it, well, I think in order to get it, I believe it's like you have to get your dog up to 3 hearts. I might be wrong on that, but basically, like, the simple way of thinking of it is you have to pick up your dog 60 times. Which means I've actually missed out a few days, because otherwise I would have got it on fall too if I had done it every day for 60 days straight. So again, I guess technically this doesn't like cost me time because I'm still going to do it like a flat 60. But this may have been like, oh, I didn't pick up my dog a couple of times in like certain splits, so it saved me a little bit of time. Now the important thing is to not pick up my dog from this point onward, because in this run, because I've been picking up my dog for like, you know, for an hour and 40 minutes almost, it's going to be very easy to just keep that kind of muscle memory going of picking up my dog every day. So it won't happen every day, but there may be like a couple days when I accidentally pick up my dog and have to go, no wait, no, don't need to do that. So here's another standard festival. Even though I have the last fish in my rucksack, I don't actually want to go to the dolphin. I want to do that when I go to put that piece of breadfruit in the festival bin for the harvest festival, or alternatively the pumpkin festival, with like when I'm basically putting something in the festival bin. And the reason why I want to do it then instead of that is because what am I trying to say? It's because, so the actual note that you get is for going to the island, not just befriending the dolphin. So yeah, so you have to go to the island to do that, and if I were to go to the island now, I'd then also have to return in order to go to this festival. Whereas if I do it when I'm putting something in the festival bin, I can go put something in the festival bin, then go to the dolphin and go to the island, and then just dead sleep to the next day, and I don't have to return from the island. So it doesn't, like, it saves a bit of time, not a massive amount, but it does save time. So it's, you know, you may as well do it. But yeah, so the kind of good thing about this run is, and this game in general, I guess, it kind of once you get past the first 2 seasons, it's very much on autopilot. Mostly on autopilot. Like a few things can still go wrong. Like I've lost a run before due to not finding the blue mist feather, and I've lost like 15 minutes from it. And I managed to find it on the last day of fall. So things can still go wrong, but very minimal at this point. And you may have noticed that, so even though I want to go out on a cloudy day during fall, I've missed a few. Or I've skipped a few, haven't gone on a few. And that's because, so I've mentioned the blue mist flower quite a bit, and get used to that because it will probably be mentioned quite a few more times until I find it. But the further into fall you go, like the higher chance there is of it growing and it actually have been spawned. So you kind of want to leave it late enough so that it's definitely had a chance to grow and it's a lot easier to find it, but obviously you don't want to leave it too late so that you don't actually get a weather day. So I think I'm going to leave it until after the horse race, so after the 17th, and then I think I'm going to go out on the first cloudy day after that. So tomorrow will be a sunny day because it's a festival, and then I'm just going to take the first cloudy day after the 17th. Hopefully there will still be one, because I'm sure I've done stuff like that in glitched runs where I've gone, okay, I'm going to take the next cloudy day, and then there hasn't been a cloudy day for the rest of the season. I'm going to check the calendar again. Okay, so here's the next cloudy day. No, I don't need to do that today. Okay, so the 19th, so I'd say there's a pretty good chance of it being spawned. And I hope you like cow noises because you're going to hear them quite a bit. So yeah, so as you can probably guess, this is a note that you get for brushing animals. You get it for brushing your animals 20 times, but I don't actually own or buy any animals in this run, so I just end up doing it on my neighbour's animals. So to be fair, even in Glitched, you buy animals, you get animals right at the end of the run, but you still do it on your neighbours, on the animals of Blue Sky Ranch, just because it's faster. An interesting little tidbit about how the route used to be and stuff like that. You used to do this note on a rainy day because they'd all be inside and it was just easier to kind of herd them. But that was before this kind of strat was found where you can just push the cow into the corner and then they'll pretty much stay still. Okay, so now I'm going off to find the blue mist flower. As I said, this flower is pretty rare. Like, I'm pretty sure that only one like grows during the season. I actually found it pretty quickly in my PB, but yep, okay, cool. Ah, fuck. I've done it again. Okay. Luckily, I'm a genius, and apparently, like, even though the villagers don't like that, doesn't actually make a difference. I'm actually going to go to the top and do this. So yeah, so I've said it on actually every weather day so far, so I'll say it again, but honey grows in all the seasons except winter, so honey that you don't pick through other seasons will just stay there. So that means I kind of want, like, at this point now, I kind of want to clear out all the honey before I start working towards all my before I start working through all my eggs. Yeah, and what I'm doing now is so this note I should have gotten during the rainy weather day in summer, but I didn't, so I'm getting it now. Okay. You should all consider yourself lucky that I didn't decide to do that near the animals, because if you do it near animals, they do all decide to make noises. So just be thankful that I only put you through slight animal noise torture. No, that's just a chestnut. And yeah, so another thing, I know I'm repeating quite a few things here, but you know, route changes and stuff. But yeah, something you may not have noticed that I mentioned earlier is, yeah, so usually in a run, in fall, the harvest sprites would have visited us and told me how to make, whatever it's called, told me how to make mushroom soup, but they haven't. And they haven't because I don't own a pot, so yeah, I just actually can't make mushroom soup. So even if they told me how to make mushroom soup, I wouldn't be able to. I think I'm just going to go all the way up to the rock climbing mini game, just to see if like any other, yeah, just to get like any final bits of honey, and then I'm just going to work on whistling then. Because in winter no forageables grow, so I basically want to pick up like all the remaining forageables I can now. And like I have plenty of time to do notes like whistling and stuff like that in winter, like during the snow weather day. So yeah. Hey Mizaru, how's it going? So I'll just spend the last half an hour of this day now just whistling. That's good to hear. I'm doing well, thanks. Okay, so I took the hoe out, but I'm not actually going to be using it yet. I'm going to be using it in winter. There you go. So this note that I'm just getting now is for shipping every single flower and herb that there is. So that's all the herbs from spring, all the herbs from summer, and all the herbs and flowers from fall. And nothing grows in winter, so there's nothing to ship from then. Okay, so assuming I did maths correctly earlier, this is going to be the last. Okay, no, we're not going to jump over any of those then. This is going to be the last time I visit the dolphin. You're alright there? Nope. Oh, come on, game. Okay, it's not actually letting me give the chulo fish to the dolphin. That's interesting and not at all helpful. Okay, I kind of doubt I can, but I'm going to check if I can make... No, I can, okay. So not a completely useless fish then. I don't actually know if I can give sashimi or cooked food or anything like that to a fish, or to the dolphin. Then I can give it instead. Green herb is probably the best option. So I'll try that on the 25th. Yeah, it's certainly a bit bizarre. Interesting enough, like, I've never actually caught a chulo fish before in a run. I've caught quite a few fish that I've never caught in this run before, so that has took me a little bit by surprise. So right, the moment now, the worst case scenario is I actually have to catch another fish. Actually, I might be able to just wave to it again. So as I mentioned with the whole, if I don't buy the pot, the harvest breaks don't give me the recipe for mushroom soup. I mentioned that there are a few other recipes that you get if you buy certain things. One of them I said was from Cyberer, so that doesn't matter because you don't unlock him in the run. The other recipe, I don't remember what it was, and I don't remember what utensil you have to avoid. But the other one you actually get from Gourmet at this festival. So that cutscene is a little bit longer if I buy a certain utensil. I think it might be the frying pan, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Really doesn't feel like jumping over these stakes anymore. Okay, yeah. So that cost me a little bit of time, but I think I've saved time in other places during fall. Actually, no, this may have evened me out, unfortunately, but that's fine. There you go. So I no longer have to visit the dolphin. How many notes do I have right now? I have no idea. I used to keep track of them, but now I just kind of don't check until pretty much near the end, which isn't necessarily a good thing to do. And like, if people like new people start running the game, I definitely wouldn't recommend you don't keep track of how many notes you have. But yeah, I don't really check how many notes I have until the last few, but I'm probably somewhere around 40, maybe a little bit below, probably not that much higher than it. Yeah, I'd say probably a little bit below 40. Okay, so this is the final festival of fall. I think I should save time here. I don't think this festival's long enough for me to be losing time. So after this festival, there's now only one more festival in which I need to put something in the festival bin to actually participate in, and that'll be the Flame Festival in winter, which I need to put a wooden stake in. An interesting thing about this game is, so you may have noticed if you played this game before that in winter the icon, I guess we'll say, for the wooden stakes have snow on top, because you've most likely just picked them up when they already have snow on. However, if you actually already have a wooden stake in your bag in fall, and then it goes to winter, so if you have it in your bag in fall, it won't have snow on top, and then when you go and then like you sleep over to winter, it will then have snow on top, even if it's like just stayed in your bag from fall 30 to winter 1, it will then have snow on top. Which makes sense when you think about it from like a whole, it just like, it just checks for what the season is, but it's an interesting little detail. It's a bit silly, but cool, I think, nonetheless. Okay, so winter is very similar to fall. You can probably tell by the fact that they're very similarly length. And that's because winter, all you really do is you do a few festivals and this weather day, similar to in fall. So what I'm doing now is I'm working towards the cultivation node, and you might be thinking, well, hang on, what exactly are you doing? Because this looks a little bit... Okay, I don't know really, I don't know whether it looks like a glitch, but, you know, I'll cover my bases just in case. But no, this doesn't count as a glitch. Like, I've talked about it on stream before, and like other runners of the game and people who watch have said, no, this isn't really a glitch. So you can still do this in Glitchless. But what exactly I'm talking about is the fact that if I were to be tilling soil in any other season... Hi Naime, how's it going? Yeah, I like Magical Melody as well. But if you were to be tilling soil in any other season, my character would till one square, then he'd rotate to the next one, then the next one, and he'd till like all the soil around him, because all I'm doing at the moment is I'm just pressing X. I'm just mashing X, and he'll till all the soil around him, move on, and then till all the soil around him again, and he'll just keep doing that until he till various things happen that prevent him from doing that. However, when you till in the snow, because you can't actually plant anything in the snow, he just he stays in the same spot. So it has the same effect of it essentially being ineffective, but the thing is it still counts towards the cultivation. So even though you can't plant anything, you know, there's no actual visual difference or anything like that, it still does actually count as you tilling soil, and it still does actually, if I were to do this 100 times, which I'm not technically going to do 100 times now because I've already tilled a few spots of soil, but I'm going to till it so that the total number of times I've used the hoe on soil is 100 times. It still counts towards this, and I will still get the note. But as I said, even though it works, it works differently than it works through any other part of the game, we have basically decided that it's not a glitch. So, because this run will probably be PB, and therefore world record, and I'll probably end up uploading it to YouTube, if I see any comments that say, hey, what you do at insert time I do this, it's a glitch, I'm just going to be very disappointed in you, know that. Well, I hope you have fun at work, Naime. Oops. I always do that. I feel like every time I get this note, I end up this exactly the same time I take out an egg to refill myself. Okay, I only actually have 3 eggs left. Which is okay, because the whistling note doesn't really take that much stamina out of you. Hey Meow Mix Max, how's it going? Right, so I'm now going to get the most difficult note in the game. It's a series of frame perfect inputs. Just coincidentally, those frame perfect inputs are don't input anything for about 1.5 minutes. So this is a stationary note, what's technically the easiest note in the game. Aside from first steps, I think. Yeah, it's just a bit silly the way it ends up working. Really. Interestingly, another thing we decided isn't technically a glitch, or like is a glitch but doesn't like invalidate glitchless runs is so when I was brushing the cows on or the animals on Blue Sky Ranch, if you do like it kind of not poorly, but if you do it in like a specific manner, you can actually get the animals to clip through the buildings. And even though that's technically a glitch, that's not supposed to happen. Because it's like you're not intending to do it, it's completely accidental, and if anything, it hinders you a bit. We essentially decided that doesn't it's a glitch, but it doesn't invalidate glitchless runs. Okay, so all I gotta do now for the last hour and a half of this day is just whistle. So yeah, so I'll probably end up getting the whistle note today. If I don't, I'll be a little bit surprised. But I guess it's entirely possible because I wasn't able to do any whistling during summer. I only did a bit of whistling during fall, and didn't do that much whistling during spring. Oh, there we go though, that's fine. So yeah, so unfortunately, there are no forageable or edible forageable items during winter. So you can't really work towards Big Eater on this day. You can only work towards it for as many items as you can carry in your bag. And now I'm just going to finish a note that I started quite a while ago. Because the library has two sections of books. It has the spring and summer collection, and it has the fall and winter collection, and in order to get the note you have to read all of them. Good. I'm always a little bit worried because so far I have never messed this note up. So I've never accidentally missed a book in spring or summer and then had to go back and reread all the books in the spring and summer collection. So I've always read all the books without messing up. But I'm always a little bit worried about the first time that happens, because this will be very embarrassing. Okay, so that's actually all the food items I have left. However, I do have some money. I think I have just a little bit under 1,200 G, unfortunately. So I'm just I'm a few tens of G off being able to buy 10 eggs. But who knows whether that'll actually make a difference, really. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But yeah, so I've done the snowy weather day, so I no longer have to spend 10 hours outside anymore. So all that's left to do in winter now is just the festivals. So there's the Flame Festival on the 15th, I think. It might be the 17th, I'm pretty sure it's the 15th. 19th, ooh, bit off there. But I've actually spent quite a bit of time checking the calendar in this run, which costs time, but means I'm not using my notes, which I'd honestly say is good, because I haven't used my notes in a while, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to use notes, but I think it's definitely probably a little bit better if you can do a run without using notes. So the next chance and the final chance I have to work towards Big Eater before it starts wasting time or like costing time. And what I mean by that is so far in the run, every time I've worked towards Big Eater, or I've been eating food, with maybe like a couple of exceptions such as in the mine, it's been during like a weather day or a time period where I have to wait for something to open, or something along the lines of that. So it's been during a period of time in which I have to waste time. I have to wait a certain amount of time anyway. So by working towards Big Eater during that time, I'm not actually costing time. And this is why, even though Big Eater is a really luck-based note and is really finicky and stupid, it's pretty much always worth it to do it in a run, because at the end of it, it maybe only actually costs you a minute or two. So the next chance that I have to work towards Big Eater, and will be the final one before it starts costing time, is at the end of the New Year's Sunrise Festival on the 30th of winter. So at the end of that festival, it puts you at 5 o'clock on Spring 1, and you get a note for staying up until 6 o'clock the next day. So this is the best time to get this note, because it's obviously better than just waiting a whole day. And this is the only festival that puts you at 5 o'clock the next day. Like, the next latest a festival will put you at is midnight. So in this, you only have to wait an hour. But that's an hour I have to wait. That's an hour I have to kill. I have nothing else to do. So I can eat a few items during that hour, and then after that, any time I spend eating food will technically be costing me time. I say technically costing me time. You pretty much have to do it in every single run. Like, I don't think, like, even in Glitched, I don't think I get a run that good that I don't have to do a little bit of eating outside of these, like, time windows. But yeah, but what'll really start costing time will be if I get it, if I eat all of the remaining food items and I still don't have the note. But then if I also buy, so as I said, I have enough money for 9 eggs, 9 more eggs. So it'll really start costing time if I eat all the like the 9 items I currently have in my bag now. I buy the 9 eggs, I eat all of them, and I still don't have the note. If that happens, then what I'll have to do is I'll actually have to, like, find forageable food, and then that's when it, like, actually starts costing time, because that's when you can't really pinpoint exactly how long you're taking, or exactly, like, how long it usually takes comparatively. But basically at this point, that's, like, the only thing that can go wrong in the run now. Everything else... Okay, no. The only other thing that can, like, really go wrong is if I mess up Night Owl. So Night Owl is a note that you get for staying up until 6 o'clock. And so what happens is you stay up until 6 o'clock and then you get the note the next day. But if you leave your house before you actually get the note, it doesn't give you the note. You just have to do it again. And obviously, the fact that the best way to get that note is because that festival, the New Year's Sunrise Festival, puts you at 5 o'clock. That doesn't happen for another year, so the next best way to get the note would... I'm not actually sure, because the next festival after that is the Spring Footsteps Festival, which puts you at 6 o'clock. I don't know the next festival that puts you at midnight, so I don't know like how long it would be worth to wait for that. So I don't actually know what like the next best backup is, and that's actually another thing that's kind of risky with Glitchless, is Glitchless has basically no backups, like no backup notes. If you miss a note, that's just, oh well, rip run, I guess. Okay, that's not true. It has like a few backup notes, but they're ridiculously slow. So I'm pretty sure like in this run the next best backup is growing 10 turnips and befriending Joe. But that's like, yeah, that's so slow, that's just like you don't want to do that at all. But you can, I guess. And I can't think of any other backups off the top of my head. Yep, Joe is too slow, unfortunately. Which is funny because he used to be one of the people you befriend in the run. In like old routes, he was one of the people you would befriend him, as well as Ellen. I talked about this a little bit earlier, because I talked about like how there was a small time when there was going to be a friendless route. 10k steps only takes 30 minutes, yeah. One of the things I'm always sad about is in Glitched, if you use inventory storage and duplicate the pedometer, having like 10 of them and just doing 1,000 steps doesn't actually doesn't times it by 10. It's very sad. Yeah, because that's the thing. 10,000 steps used to be in the run, but what basically happened is the run essentially got so optimized that you just didn't end up doing 10,000 steps anymore. I don't know if like after a certain point it's become like, maybe it's like gone back around where it's still so optimized, but now it's, you just like optimizing, you know where to run, you do more running than you used to, but yeah. It is interesting. To me at least. Okay, 2 festivals left. Yeah, you don't really usually lose or save time on this split. But no, I think I might actually lose a little bit of time because of like getting maybe like a couple of extra notes. But maybe not, I don't know. But that's the thing, like, at this point, the only thing that would make me lose the run is the only thing that would make me lose the run is what's it called? Is if I mess up Night Owl. Even if I did like ended up somehow doing really badly with Big Eater, which I honestly don't think I will. I think I've actually done like really well with Big Eater this run. I think like the worst that would happen with that is I'd lose time, but I find that kind of doubtful. Okay, so this is the penultimate festival. The final festival is tomorrow. And yeah, it's also the last long festival. The last romantic festival, the last long festival. And the last day of the year. I've also remembered to mash during this cutscene, because usually during the romantic festivals, there's no text during this cutscene. But because this one's slightly different, because in all the other ones, whoever you go with, so in the run's case, Ellen, she invites you to it. In this case, you invite her. So she says like a little thing about, oh, I got your invitation. Yeah. That's pretty much exactly what it says, like, thanks for inviting me. Something, something, let's go. Ah, and actually, this is an interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. So, there is actually a way to skip cutscenes in this game. And it's very specific, and it's not at all... Or, okay, I don't think it's worth doing in Glitched. But yeah, so I think the first thing that kind of like, if you want the kind of like the whole history behind this, the first thing that kind of hinted towards it was, I think it was Desert that found this, but he found a glitch in the game where like, if you passed out on the stairs in a mine, the game behaved a little bit wacky, but unfortunately that just ended up crashing the game. But then, somewhat recently, like a few months ago I think now, he found out if you passed out, and just after, like immediately after you passed out, you went to the save screen, you could like save and reload. And it's a bit, this is going to be really difficult to explain. But yeah, but you could like save and load during the cutscene that plays in the doctor's office. And then if you do like specific menuing so that you watch that full cutscene without like going off the save or load screen, you can then actually like walk around whilst you have that screen open. And so like we tried a few different things. Like I know Desert tried if you could skip the Harvest Goddess cutscene, and I tried it as well offline. But something I actually found that you could do, and I'm going to take a break from explaining this a second to do a little bit of counting. So what I'm doing here is I'm saving 30 times. I think I'm missing a note. There's the festival note. Yeah. No, there's... Oh shit, yeah, no, I was supposed to do this in winter, damn. Okay. I completely forgot about this. Okay. Right, so back to my explanation. So yeah, so you can actually like move around and control in the game during the Yes, don't okay. I actually meant to pick up the watering can, but right, that's okay. I have to buy food anyway, so shit! I just skipped the fucking festival. That's not at all what I meant to do. Oh my fucking god, are you kidding me? Oh fuck. And this is why you save, because that doesn't actually fuck it. It's a time loss, but it's not a run killer, because I saved. Thank fuck for that. Holy shit. I don't like this game anymore, it's too stressful. Oh my god. And I'll go find a place where you can actually do it. Yeah, I meant to do this in winter. If, like, okay. I don't actually know whether I'm going to be ahead of this split. I really hope I am. Because all I will have left to do is this festival, which is a short festival, and then Big Eater. That's all I have left. So I think I should still be ahead. Maybe only like a minute and a half, I reckon. Oh my god. That was so scary. I genuinely thought I was done. And then like when I was like, oh shit, no, I have to save. Card being bad. Okay, it's gonna be in black and white for a few seconds because OBS is being an absolute butt, but it should be fine again. Okay. Right, I only have one more note left to do now. I almost said split. So this is just buy eggs and eat eggs. If I can somehow still get sub 240 with this, I will actually be amazed. But I don't know if I will. Fuck off. Because I've got a little bit of time save on the next split as well, but... Are you kidding me? One item. I had to eat one more goddamn item. And I wouldn't have had... And that would have saved me, like... 10 seconds. No, okay, it would have saved me a little bit more time than that, but it would have saved me time if I had found one more item. And that could have been the item. And that's why, like, I don't, but honestly, I really should keep track of how many items I eat during the run. Because I like, if I was like, oh, I only have a few items left, I wouldn't have had to go to the farm. I would have just been able to eat them there on the way up. Okay, that was a very rough ending. This will definitely PB, definitely world record, because there is basically like no way to lose time at this bit. Like, so in order for me to have not PB'd after being ahead at 50 notes, in this case, I'd have to be like, excuse me, I'd have to be like a minute and a half away from, or like more than a minute and a half, but I'd have to be like very far away from the goddess spring. I think I'll probably break even in this. Yeah, I don't know. Ooh, okay. Right, I'm going to start the whole explanation of the cutscene skip again because, just so you can kind of get like the whole thing in one piece without me stopping and starting and having panic attacks and, you know, nearly throwing the run out the window for the fun of it. But okay, so yeah, so the full history of it is like ages ago, quite a while ago now. Desert found, I believe it was Desert anyway, found a thing where if you've passed out in the mine on the stairs, the text box for the stairs would activate as you passed out, but all that would kind of do, like doing anything with that, would basically just crash the game. It wouldn't do anything useful. And then like a few months ago, I think now, he found out that you could do basically the same thing, but if you passed out on the save menu or on your diary. So if you do that, what you can do is you can save and load during the what's it called? During the cutscene at the doctor's, when he says, "Hey, you really shouldn't pass out. It's not good." And basically, because like the save and load screen isn't just a save and load screen, there's also like an options thing that for like controller settings. So like you know, it offers rumble, like stereo, mono sound, shit like that. You can like you can mash through the cutscene by just selecting A on those like on the options without having so you can navigate that cutscene without having to save and load, or like without having to constantly press B. Especially because if you exit that menu, the cutscene just resumes as normal, and you don't do anything interesting. So yeah, so if you like watch that whole cutscene, and at the end of the cutscene and you still have the save menu up, you can actually like continue playing and move around with the save screen up. It's a bit difficult because the save screen isn't like, you know, a text box that takes up some of the screen. It's a whole different screen, so you are completely blind in doing this. So Desert tried this, I've tried this, but like unfortunately, if you somehow magically manage to navigate your way through completely blindly, I might add, through to the Goddess Pond from your house, save during it, and then reload, I think the end result is you only skip the first one. You don't skip all of them. I know you definitely don't skip through all of them, but I'm pretty sure you only skip like the first one you watched. But interestingly, you can actually then use that to skip through festival cutscenes. So, or you can definitely use it to skip through romantic festivals. You could probably skip through like a couple of other ones, but they'd be a little bit difficult to do, or I haven't tested all of the festivals, and they definitely don't work for all of them. So I can't actually remember which one. I think I tried it with moon viewing, but yeah. So if you could do this glitch so that you can move around whilst you have the save menu up, and navigate your way to the festival square, and watch the moon viewing cutscene. As soon as the moon viewing cutscene starts, if you save, and then I believe you actually have to do like a proper reset. You can't just like reload your game. You actually have to like reset your console and then select continue and reload that file. You'll actually reload at the end of that festival, and you'll get the note, and it skips that entire festival cutscene. It skips the whole thing. It's really, and as I said, it's really specific, because I think it only works with romantic festivals. And even in like any percent glitched, I don't actually think it's worth or fast enough to do. It might be, maybe. In a case where like this is the first time you get, because this is the first time, like in the case of the first time you get the passing out note, the limitation note, that's when you do it. But even then, it's a very like specific glitch. I might actually try and show it off. It might take me a while to set it up, and then get it, but I don't know. Are any of you interested in seeing it? As I said, if I do show it off, it'll take me a while. It might take me a while to set it up. Though I may have a test file that I could use. I say it might take me a while to set it up. Basically, all I want to do is I want to have a second house. Because if I'm going to... Actually, what's the next... Oh no, the next romantic festival is not for a while. I don't know. Let's see, because I'm confused, yeah. I will say, I think it's definitely something that's kind of better to see visually than it is to, like, just explain whilst I'm not. Open the cooking menu, then do rock climbing. Okay. Yeah, because that's actually another thing I haven't mentioned, is you can actually do it with other things. So I've actually managed to... I've done it with, like, the bookcase before, which makes it a lot easier to navigate, but you don't skip anything. You can't skip anything by just opening the bookcase. Okay, so I'll do what Desert's saying, and I'll open the cooking menu and do rock climbing, because I haven't seen that, and I shouldn't have to, like, do that much setup for it. Might need a fish or something to cook. Okay, well that shouldn't take me too long to get either. So that'll be fine. There's actually another glitch I want to talk about, but I'll save that for the end of the run. Because otherwise I'll, like, end up talking about it during the run, and then there'll be, like, a cut-off when the video, the VOD will finish, and it'll be a bit confusing for people who want to watch. So unfortunately, people who are watching the VOD, sorry, you won't get to hear about this glitch, but don't worry. Yeah. Just don't worry, things... You'll hear about it eventually, I'm sure. Okay, so this is the final, yeah, this is going to be a sub 240, because this is the last cutscene. Okay, so this is the end of the run now. There we go. Good. I did have a goal of sub 240. I think I could save more time, but for the most part, that was really good. Whoa, thanks for the bits again, Desert. Thanks for the GG. Yeah, I saw, like, when you were first messing around with that glitch that you posted something about. You tweeted something about you can load, like, other villagers and stuff. Yeah. So that's the run. It's been a bit of a messy run. I don't know how much there's, like, there is of legitimate time save at the beginning. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this run can definitely go down. Because I didn't have to lose that much time in 50 notes. But yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna want to put that much effort in to it going down.